F25, have been with my boyfriend, Jake, M34, for 8 months. Things were fine until I, against my better judgment, moved into his place a couple months ago. Since then, he's been getting kind of possessive and protective. I immediately told him to cut that shit out because it's off-putting, and things seem to get better. Anyway, I have a friend in Mexico who is getting married. I've been excited to fly down for her wedding since she told me she was engaged a year ago. However, Jake has made it clear that he doesn't want me to go. He says Mexico is too dangerous, even though I've been there many times and even lived there for a year, speak Spanish, have friends there, and know my way around. No matter what I say, he doesn't want me to go. Then a couple of days ago my passport went missing from my nightstand. I'm supposed to go tomorrow, so I wouldn't have time to get a new one. I looked everywhere, no luck. When I asked Jake about it, he behaved a little suspiciously, but I dismissed it because I couldn't believe he would actually take my passport to keep me from going. But he's been giving me some red flags, so I decided to have a thorough look around. When he went out this morning, I started going through everything. As I searched, I became increasingly certain that he took my passport. I started off carefully picking through drawers and cabinets, but as my anger grew, I became a lot less careful. I started turning out drawers, pried open a briefcase, made a total mess. But I found it. It was behind some books on the bookcase in his study. I never go into his study. He definitely put it there. Now he's furious with me for going through his things and ransacking his place. He said he would have given my passport back, and there was no need for me to go crazy. I'm just angry that he took it to begin with, and I don't believe him when he says he was going to give it back. This is only my third serious relationship, and I have no perspective on this kind of thing. Aita for overreacting and ransacking my ex-boyfriend's place? Edit. Thanks for the replies. I guess I was still in a weird state of disbelief that he did that, and it made me question everything. Now that I've stopped shaking and have had the time to think, talk to my mom, and to read through these replies, I feel kinda silly for even wondering if I did something wrong. Suffice it to say it's over for good. I've blocked him on everything and my dad and brother are over there getting what's left of my stuff. I'm going to try to put it out of my mind and focus on my awesome trip. Next story. I'm not lactose intolerant. I buy hazelnut milk because I like to have hazelnut syrup in my coffee, and adding hazelnut milk makes it even more nutty. My flatmate is severely lactose intolerant though and has been drinking my milk ever since she moved in a few months ago. I don't have an issue sharing milk with her, but the issue is that she drinks so much of it all day every day that I'll get a single cup of coffee out of an entire carton. Sometimes she'll drink the entire carton before I've even had a single drink, and then she never replaces it or refunds me or even acknowledges that it wasn't hers to drink. At some point she stopped buying her own milk and I was having to buy new milk daily. I asked her many times why she was drinking my milk, and said that if she does can she just buy a new carton, and she would say sorry and that she just grabbed the first milk she saw and that she'd get me a new one but just never would. She started getting annoyed when I brought it up and would say I was being overdramatic when I mentioned how much it was costing me. Last week I got sick of it and decided to go back to drinking dairy milk, thinking that as she's severely lactose intolerant she would stop and buy her own milk. I thought wrong. The dairy milk is clearly labeled. It has a bright red label on it that says cow's milk, but she still helped herself. Unfortunately, the day she decided to drink dairy milk was the day she had a new job interview, and the effects of the dairy-laced coffee she took with her kicked in as she was in the middle of it and she didn't make it in time. She came home absolutely furious and laid into me about how I ruined her life. How this job was the opportunity she needed and I destroyed it for her by being a selfish cunt, and that I did it deliberately because I was too uptight to share my milk. Here are the reasons why my flatmate thinks I am in the wrong. I knew she was lactose intolerant and so knew if she drank my milk she would get violently ill. So by switching to dairy milk when I knew she was drinking my milk and might potentially drink it again, I was putting her at risk. She also said that sharing milk isn't a big deal and that I'm selfish. She thinks I was overreacting and being cruel just for the sake of it, and that I should have spoken to her about it instead of secretly changing milks. She has threatened to report me to the police, but I don't think she has a leg to stand on. Regardless, she is making our flat very uncomfortable to live in. She's taken my leftovers from the fridge and opened up my milk and left it to ruin. Leaves all her mess everywhere for me to clean up and has misplaced documents of mine. Next story. So me and my partner adopted our daughter 2 years ago. We don't have any biological children, and we don't really plan to just yet. Our daughter is 6 years old now. She does understand that she's adopted, and we've made it clear time and time again that even though she didn't come from my belly, we still love her and treat her as if she did. The other day, I took her to a pediatrician because she said that one of her ears felt full. She did have a cold last week, so that was expected, and he said that her ear would drain out eventually. All good. The nurse comes in with the discharge sheet, and commented that she would have never assumed that I was the mother of my daughter since I looked nothing like her, which I don't, for obvious reasons. So then I said, "Oh yeah, we adopted her, so that's why she doesn't look me or my husband." Then, this nurse goes, "Oh okay, so she isn't your daughter." I was a little confused because I thought I had just explained this whole situation. I said again, "She is my daughter, we adopted her a few years back." The nurse says, "But technically she isn't your daughter, and her real mom is somewhere else." I was really upset because what the actual fuck? I said again, "But she is my daughter and I am her mom." The nurse kind of sighed and said, "Okay, maybe legally you are, but her real mom is the one that gave birth to her." My daughter was looking up at me kind of confused, and I can't even imagine what was going through her head. I had enough. I said to this nurse, "What the hell is wrong with you? I keep telling you that I am her mother, and you keep denying that, in front of my daughter no less." The nurse goes, "I'm just stating a fact. Biologically she's not yours." I went again, "Yeah. Because she's adopted. We adopted her and gave her a home. What, I have to push her out my vagina to be her mother?" The nurse goes, "Well, that's the dictionary definition of what a mom is." I had enough. I told her to wash her mouth of the bullshit she had been saying at me and my daughter, and I left and went home. I was really shaken up at this point and was still when we got home and my husband noticed. I told him what had happened. He told me that the nurse was really dumb for saying that, but I shouldn't have blown up on her like that. Next story. What's going on right now has been really difficult on everyone. My son Jack, 26M, just left his wife of 3 years after finding out she's been having an affair. He didn't want me to know the details at all, just insisted only me and him spend time together somewhere public. I thought it was because he just didn't want anyone to know what was going on, but it was really because my other son Andrew, 27M, was living with me and he didn't want to see him. Jack told me he's running out of money and can't afford the motel he's staying at right now. But he refused to come back to live with me while he goes through the divorce. He finally told me Andrew is the one his wife cheated with. To say I was disgusted and horrified is an understatement. That night I gave Andrew a piece of my mind and told him he's not longer welcome in my home. The reason he was living with me was also because of his financial problems since he was out of work due to COVID. This entire time he knew what was going on but acted like the innocent party until I confronted him. He pleaded with me not to throw him out when he has no place to go. But I told him as of right now I only have one child because we sure as heck didn't raise our kids to betray their own family and involve themselves in someone else's marriage. Since he's been living with Maya while he was given a time frame to pack up his things and leave. Once he was out, Jack came to stay with me, but haven't heard the end of it from my ex-in-laws or his mom, who conveniently cannot house him either, for one thing because they're back in their home country, and they are yelling at me for playing favorites with my kids and punishing Andrew when he was already in a rough spot. They believe as their father I should have mediated between them so they could learn to live together. But I wasn't about to put Jack through that. He wants nothing to do with Andrew and I feel like I need to respect that, not make them hug it out and make up. I'm also just very angry at Andrew and frankly don't want to be around him at all either. Yes, right now he's stuck crashing at different friends' houses. He keeps begging to come back because everything has been hard. Does it make me an asshole to not help him out? Next story. My boyfriend's parents paid for them, my boyfriend's siblings and their son to all go on a flight to Cabo for spring break. Becky, his mom, hasn't seemed to like me for some reason. She always makes snide remarks about my parents' blue-collar jobs and my field as nursing. We get to the airport and Becky got 7 other people first-class tickets and me 1 coach ticket. She told me I was used to it and she had a free coach ticket, so I should be grateful for going. They all did their express check-ins and left me in the long line for me to think about what the heck is going on. I had to keep from crying the whole time in line. I got up to the counter and there was a baggage fee to me. My boyfriend at the time never once helped me through the coach line or said anything to his mom. I looked over at his mom's smug face as I was about to pay the checked baggage fee. And I let all of my frustrations out on the attendant and started crying. Basically she said, "Don't go with that family, sweetie, they don't appreciate you." Continues to cry and took my luggage and got out of line with the super sweet check-in woman. I was so upset on how I was treated and started crying on my boyfriend in the airport about how his mother was treating me. I broke up with him at the airport and his mother was so embarrassed. I told her what a bitch she was. My boyfriend has been blowing up my phone saying how could I do that to his mother and just back out of a vacation very last minute and wasted everyone's time and money.